Let's go! Mo Hampton, Micah Baskerville, what is happening? Of course, we're going to address that in today's video, but it is a Friday Q&A type of day. All these comments from not only this week, but last week, we're going to answer it from all of our videos. With the Baskerville and the Hampton news, just settle, okay? Just settle down just a little bit, okay? And this is our first comment here, the early kick with Austin. Gonna need these guys to step up with Mo Hampton transferring. And these guys he's referring to is from our video yesterday. And we had a very similar video to our video yesterday, the week before, about Sage Ryan and Derek Davis Jr. Now, with our video yesterday, we were discussing when 4 stars have been better than the 5-star player in LSU recruiting classes. And if you want to see what my research showed, you can watch the video. I'll link it down in the description. But basically, oftentimes the 4-star player outperforms the 5-star player at LSU. Luckily for LSU, they both perform at an extremely high level, as was the case with Odell and Jarvis, and Terrace and Jamar, and obviously Jacoby and Grant. So hopefully that is the case with Derek Davis Jr. and Sage Ryan. Let's go to Kristian. We really need a running back that is capable of catching passes out of the backfield. That's one of the things that made CEH so successful. Now, this comment came from our film study this week. I also would like to see LSU just have running backs personal protect more, because if Myles Brennan is your quarterback and blitzers run free to the quarterback, and that's another issue that LSU can't fix, then Myles Brennan isn't Joe Burrow. He's not mobile enough to make blitzers miss. Now, ironically, that is something Garrett Nussmeier really showed on his high school tape, is that he's really good at making blitzers miss. That's also something that, ironically, Walker Howard's really good at. TJ Finley, not so much. He did do a decent job of it, but obviously he's not an explosive athlete. And Max Johnson overall did a fine job of it as well. But Myles Brennan cannot evade blitzers. So, it is important that LSU has a running back catch the football out of the backfield, but it is also key that the protection overall gets better. Let's go to Slander Pop. Good to have you back, man. What I hope and see happening is the new offensive coaches are looking at this tape like us and seeing these problems and hopefully actively fixing it. It was good to hear Coach Peetz say they will build around the players. So, I'm glad he brought this up, Jake Peetz, because, I whether or not you want Myles Brennan, I just hit the microphone like an idiot. Whether or not you want Myles Brennan or Max Johnson to be the quarterback, whoever, it's crazy because they are radically different quarterbacks. And ultimately, it's what Jake Peetz wants to do with his offense. So I know they're trying to do the 2019 offense, but still, Jake Peetz was not a part of the 2019 team. So he's going to bring in some things that aren't really accustomed to these players. Now, one thing I thought that was interesting, and I picked this up from one of the interviews, and he's done a lot of interviews recently. He said that he is meeting with each player, or I think it correct me if I'm wrong. He met with each different offensive lineman individually. And I think that's important because you really have to be able to process information fast as an offensive lineman. And what I mean by that is it honestly has become so difficult to play offensive lineman at the Division I level if you run the offense LSU wants to run, which oftentimes has a running back coming out of the backfield as a receiver. Now, why is that important? Well, you don't have that personal protector to pick up unblocked blitzers and scraps. So that's why Jake Peetz wants to see if these offensive linemen can pick up these exotic blitzes because, well, it is better if your running back is out on a route because it gives the defenders more players to defend. So I think that's going to be key. It is really hard to block now and pick up blitzers and twisters, and if a defensive end curls all the way around to the opposite side A gap, how do we pass that off in protection? All those things are really difficult to do, and I think Jake Peetz sees this on tape, and in order for Myles Brennan, who looks to be the starter right now, in order for Myles Brennan to be the quarterback, those things do definitely need to get fixed. This is Saucy. He says call him Saucy. Saucy's sis. Carter, what are you doing for spring break? Now, Saucy, I'm guessing you're younger. When you are in your, I'm not going to say my age. You don't do spring break anymore, okay? You're just lucky that your knee doesn't pop when you walk outside. So, Saucy, you enjoy your Cancun, Destin, wherever you're going, spring break, okay? I don't know if you're going to be funneling Capri Sun or anything what kids do nowadays, because of course it's Capri Sun, not any other kind of beverage. Tyler wants part 2 and part 3 of the film studies. So here's what I'll say about the film studies, because some of you guys like them. Now, first thing, I like getting into every little detail of a film study, okay? What makes that difficult is obviously, number one, there's so many different things you can break down about a play. Number two, they can get a little lengthy because I don't want to leave anything out. Everything in this last video, I spent a lot of time just trying my best to edit it down, and it was still 23 minutes and it was only one play. So, number one, they do take a while to do. Number two, I am not allowed to monetize film studies. So, lucky enough we did well with Super Chats and whatnot. I'm just going to go ahead and throw up my Venmo and Cashapp. If you want more film studies, and look, I don't make much money on my other videos via AdSense or whatever, but it does help out. This is from our Arch Manning video. Arch is the best quarterback in the state right now. We need him. Wilson, that's a bold statement. I don't know if he is the best high school quarterback in the state. Obviously, you guys know I'm really high on Walker Howard. There's also Eli Holstein that's in the state in the class of 2023. So, yeah, Arch Manning is the number 5 ranked player in the class of 2023. The best prep quarterback in the state right now. I'm fine with that opinion. I still think Walker Howard is better than him right now. So it is interesting. Now, that was our video regarding Walker Howard and his future with LSU. I just think Walker Howard's a real deal. I really do. I see special, and if you can get Arch Manning to go along with Walker Howard, that is pretty freaking insane. So this was one of my favorite videos, okay? I love deep dives, okay? And look, there's different types of videos that we do on this channel. Now, obviously we have film studies, and then we have breaking news stories. So, what I hope you guys enjoy are deep dives, okay? Such as the one we did on the state of Texas. Now, what's fascinating about that video is that I thought it was going to get a ton of views because, you bring in the Texas Longhorns, and that's what the video was about. This was one of my favorite videos, recruiting the state of Texas. How important is it for LSU to recruit the state of Texas? Because as high as we are on the 2022 crop of Louisiana talent, Texas has one of their most loaded states as well for the class of 2022, and LSU is going after a lot of their best players. So, Salt says, I'm not a Fisher fan, as in Jimbo Fisher, but they got screwed out of the playoffs, so they can use that to their advantage with these Texas boys. A&M is up and coming big time, which is going to make the West so elite that it'll become a supernova. Imagine Bama being third in the West. This is going to be crazy to watch. So, this is what's fascinating about this comment, and I want to dive deep on this one. I hope you guys watch this video if you haven't already. it's interesting because with Texas not being relevant, two schools have pounced on their recent ineptitude, and those two schools are Alabama and A&M. They have done an excellent job killing that state, getting some of the best players in that state to go to their school. Particularly Alabama in 2021. They absolutely crushed it with the Brockermeyer brothers and then JoJo Earl. And then, of course, A&M in this last cycle got Bryce Foster, got Shamar Turner. Obviously, they're in the state of Texas. So, point one of the video was showing the history that LSU has had in the state of Texas. And overall, it's been good. Connor McAnalytics did a deep dive on where schools get most of their players, and Texas is number 2 on LSU's list. And this past national championship team was the 2019 LSU Tigers. Well, we would not have won that national championship if we had not recruited the state of Texas really well. Yes, LSU does need to keep recruiting the state of Texas, but if Texas becomes great, that really hurts Texas A&M, who is a real threat whether or not you like it. So let's end this video with a few more thoughts on Mo Hampton and Micah Baskerville. So it is kind of concerning because Baskerville, he's not, an elite LSU linebacker. We were talking about Donnie Alexander. He was just a really good starter linebacker at LSU. Not spectacular, just a good player. Well, the same thing's kind of true here with Micah Baskerville. He's not spectacular. Think of like Jacob Contreras, just a really solid linebacker. Yes, academics or whatever the issue may be, it does kind of stink because there is the new coaching staff, which leads us to this next comment in this video. Maybe it's a good thing. Micah Baskerville's fine. I think he can pick up on things a little quicker. But now this gives Blake Baker more time to coach up Josh White, Antoine Sampa, and Bug Navantique Strong, who's coming in. So I think this could long-term be a good thing for the linebacker depth in the room. Same thing's kind of true here with Mo Hampton. I do think Derek Davis is a real deal. But either way, LSU's going to get better safety coaching. It wasn't, and I heard this thing too, that Bill Busch wasn't necessarily the best safeties coach. Well, if you bring in Durante Jones, who has coached some of the best safeties in the NFL, I think that's going to help out big time, especially considering Durante Jones is the safeties coach. We'll see you at the live stream Saturday, Tuesday, okay? Boom! It is Power Hour. Boom, too quick. It is Power Hour. LSU, boom! Oh, I think we're doing chicken wings this weekend. Let's go. Chicken wing, hot dog.